Well, that was bizarre. This is take 2. Let's see if it works. We just did this fabulous live, Marsha Cup, my mother and I, and I've never seen anything like it. Really weird. Has shown us on our, like, half faces. So the idea here is that we try it again. So let's see if it works. It's very weird. I don't know why that's happened. But anyway, here we are for round 2. Let's see. It is what it is, folks. I guess this is how life rolls. So if you want to ask questions of us, please do. I saw a number of people asking what is a psychodramatist. So once she's on, let's ask her to tell us. So welcome, here we are, just doing psychotherapy, humanity, mother-daughter, being together, sharing what we know. And what a delight to be able to do so. How very rich we are to be together and share it with you guys. Fantastic. So let's see and wish to the Wi-Fi gods that all of this works as it should. Connecting. Hello.
Hello.
That was very odd. I don't know why that's the case, but it is. So here we are again.
Are we on the, is the screen all right now?
I think so. Good question. I'll have a look. Let me have a look. Whilst I'm checking the screen, there was a number of people saying, what is a psychodramatist? Can you say? And I'll share while you're talking.
Moreno, Jacob Levi Moreno was a young medical student in Vienna. At the same time, Freud was being a professor of psychology at the University of Vienna. And at the end of the lecture, Freud said to Moreno, "What are you doing, Dr. Moreno?" And he said, "I start where you leave off. I see people in the streets, in their homes. You see them on the couch, and it's somewhat limiting. We look at their lives in every day, and we put it into action, and you analyze people's dreams. I give them the courage to dream again." So psychodrama is an action method. So it was devised originally for psychotic patients to gain control of their madness. He was very tender with psychotic patients in Vienna. He moved to New York in 1925 and was a genius, but was misunderstood as a megalomaniacal voice because he believed that we need to reach the God within ourselves. He said there was an I God, which he deduced the thou God is outside yourself, the he God from the Hebrews and so on is outside yourself. Why not look to be responsible as if in each moment, like now with me and you, Poppy, we co-create this moment and we take responsibility, each of us, for this moment, as if we're at the brink of the creation of this moment. Well, we are, all of us, all the people listening and responding and so on. And it's a way of healing the planet. He like Freud, like Jung, had World War I atrocities in their nostrils, in their blood. And Moreno wrote a book in 1953 called Who Shall Survive, which a lot of us now feel with Syria and the caged children that Trump has just said the families can be together, but there's no policy of how the children and the parents can get back together, which is so painful. I heard a woman yesterday interviewed who had a Down syndrome child who needed medication, and she was ripped apart from the child at the border. And she was pregnant, and she said, "I just want to kill myself." And the child was put in a cage without the medication by himself, and she doesn't know how she's going to find the child.
Where did you see this, hear this?
On BBC.
Were they videoing?
It was a radio interview. So I am very glad. I stayed up 2 nights, Poppy, and 48 hours inciting my colleagues who are head of mental health, International Association of Group Psychotherapy is Kate Tovan, to write a letter of protest and outrage, and Nikos Takis is president of the Federation of European and Mediterranean Training Organizations in Psychodrama, FEPTO. Then Celia Scanlon is president of European Psychotherapy Association, to write letters and to join voices with the American Academy of Pediatricians, who outraged the American Association Group Psychotherapy Association, outraged the United Nations Human Rights Office, outraged. We all joined voices, and the prior wives, Michelle Obama, and all outraged. His wife, Trump's wife and daughter, outraged. Congresswoman, a brave congresswoman, said this is not child abuse. This is political. Suicide, children's killing. I can't remember the word she used, but it was above beyond abuse. It was cruelty that will never, trauma that will never end, because all the research shows that when you rip children from their parents, you rip children from their parents, they never recover from that trauma. Never.
My hair's done.
Neither.
That's spiritual abuse. That's oh wow. Oh my God.
Neither the parents. How do you ever feel safe? And then they interviewed one lady. The boy came back to her. She found him, and she said, he's sad, but I'm glad he's with me. He had no response to her.
Yeah. He's in trauma. Despicable. So this is the mother with the Downs boy, the Downs child.
It was another mother.
Another
mother found her 9-year-old child, and she went running to the child. The child, instead of throwing his arms around his mom, he was there, and she said to the camera, "My son is sad. I'm glad to find him." But there was no reunion, because the kid is in such trauma.
Yeah.
How do you ever trust that your mom isn't going to be torn from you again?
Well, you don't.
And yet, and my point, we who do psychotherapy, me, 55 years of seeing people individually and in groups and training group psychotherapists. So we work with trauma for all these many years. And to have the President of the United States cause trauma, which is irrevocable trauma, in the name of politics, a border between, and the border, it isn't just Mexicans, it's Syrians, Libyans, people from all over Africa, to just protect the Americans from what he calls crime. My grandparents came to America because my grandma saw her mother, father, and all her brothers and sisters shot in the backyard in Rejovic in Poland. My grandma had 8 children, and my dad, she was pregnant. She had my dad in the Antwerp harbor on the boat coming to America. Can you imagine? Nine children. She crosses America. No language, no English, no job, no money. But they saved their lives. That's what they saved their lives. And then there were people saving their lives. What if my grandmother got to Ellis Island and they ripped her children from her? She went there to save their lives. But my grandpa was clever, because one of the twins had an eye defect, Eugene.
Yeah, tell this. This is profound. I only heard this the other day. Our cousin the cousin that signs, Jodie, told me this story. I saw her. She came to visit me. Tell this story. This is ridiculous. Oh my God. Tell.
Well, at Ellis Island, my grandpa was with her and her cousin Zelda. Zelda lost 3 of her children in the concentration camp in Poland with her husband. So my cousin Zelda had nobody on earth, so she went with him to America. So when they got to Ellis Island, they had all these kids, and there were two were twins. And one of the twins, they examined him in Ellis Island, changing the name Karp and Kopf to Karp, because they said it would be too inconvenient. They said, that boy has an eye defect, he can't come in. So my grandpa took the twins to Canada. My grandma entered with the others, no language, nobody knows, nobody. And he switched their clothes. So Eugene was the other one. The other one was Eugene. He went back and they said, which one is Eugene? And this one. They look at his eye. He had a, I don't know, a sty in his eye. They said, okay, go. That's clever. Needs must.
Absolutely, yes.
I never
Resourcefulness.
met my grandpa. But I think clever guy.
Yeah.
Clever guy.
Ultimate resourcefulness, big style.
Well, he needed to be clever. Which one's Eugene? This one. Oh, okay, he's okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, big time. Incredible. So, good for you. So what happened then that 10 years ago you decided it's now my birthday period?
I didn't really. I think I know what it was. I had dinner with you and Jackson at Goran's restaurant. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
San Marco. And it was the night before I was going to Kazakhstan to work. And Jackson and you said, oh, Mama, tomorrow's your birthday. Nobody's going to know. You're going to be alone. It's not nice. I said, okay, we've celebrated it with us, the three of us. And then I think we had another one with my friends at San Marco. And got on the plane. And when I got there, it was 9 a.m. Oh, I know. I ran the work and a flood happened. It was a big conference hotel thing, and there was a flood thing, and a pipe had burst. And I said, everybody go to coffee break. And they said, oh, no, it's okay, it's just a broken pipe thing. Of a flood, it wasn't a leak, it was a flood of water came in the conference room, about 100 people or something. And we went to coffee, come back, did the thing, and then in the afternoon, the pipe burst again, and it was okay. The waitresses cleaned everything, and we kept going. And apparently, plumbing problems don't bother Ed. It's okay. Anyway, and my toilet in my bedroom, I had a big suite overlooking the mountains, but you had to climb over pipes to get to the toilet, kind of thing. And plumbing, not so good. And anyway, the next morning, 9 a.m, there was a big fire. Everybody's gathering. And I think, oh my God, we've had a flood. Now there's a fire in the hotel. They burst through the doors with a cake for 80 people, 85 people. And they had torches, you know what you call it? Fireflies. What do you call it? Fire things. You know, firecrackers.
Okay.
Coming from the cake. That was the fire, you see. So they burst in and we all sang happy birthday. And then I went to Romania the next week, and they heard it was my birthday in Romania, and they said, you can only come to Romania if it's your birthday, but you have to be 46 this time. I was 65 there.
Okay.
No, sorry. They said, we'll celebrate your birthday. After that, I went to Cyprus, and they said, we're going to do it in Cyprus, but you have to be 46, only 46. So that's how it started 10 years ago. That it was them that kept saying, I heard it was your birthday. We're going to celebrate it when you come. So now things have advanced because it's every day for me.
Yes. Yes. And I saw...
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
It's not your fault. No. Nothing to do with you. I saw a photograph on your page with a 5 on the candle. There was a...
because in the birthday... Yes, no, in the whole, we had dinner in Madrid just next to my hotel, and I said it was my birthday. That was the only candle they had.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. Good. Hooray. Well, happy birthday. Thanks for spending it with us.
I'm happy to spend my birthday with you.
Likewise.
My real birthday is April 11th.
We know this. I outed you some months ago. Yes. Brilliant. Hooray.
Poppy, I'm happy to be with you.
Likewise. It's good, aren't we, Rich?
Yeah.
Now, have you heard about our movement? Or were you too
Which
busy?
one?
Have you been
Which
on
one?
Facebook the last couple of days or not?
No, see, I haven't seen much, no.
Okay, so you know that the last sort of, I don't know, 10 days, I've been going live using a hashtag sign of this
Yes.
is for me and for you.
Yes.
And I've been suggesting that people do similar, which is to talk openly, truth to bullshit about being human, to inspire, to love on, to come out of our shame places of our bits.
Are people doing it?
No. Some, yes. One lady, Bettina, she's a gem of a woman, talks about PTSD and psychosis and so on. Incredible, beautiful, and it's, you know, got a lot of views, her talking through her methods. So again, the idea behind it is that we share human stuff with inspiration to say, this has worked for me, this hasn't. So we get to be together and share that being human bit. So what we did was started
without shame. Without shame, I think that's what's important.
Well,
without shame, without guilt.
Exactly.
Just who I am and how I'm getting through right now.
Exactly. Understandably.
Doesn't mean that's how I'll be tomorrow. Doesn't mean that's how I'll be tomorrow.
Exactly.
But that's where I am.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I cried. Okay, I cried. Big deal. It's water coming out of my face. Big deal. Now here I am again.
Exactly. You're not your tears. I'm not my whatever thing. Understandably, some people are cautious and shy and concerned, and that some people have children on their Facebook, so they don't want kids to see and whatever. So we've started
and colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
And colleagues.
And colleagues.
Our profession. I think we hide ourselves most from our professional colleagues, and we hide ourselves most from our family because they already think we're mad. You know, they don't like us, or they like us, or I don't know what.
Yeah.
Don't make things worse. That's our dictum often. Don't make things worse.
Yeah, by telling the truth.
Bad enough as it is.
Yes, exactly. So we have a group called This Is For Me and For You #. So you're very welcome to join if you like, where people are just having a private group where they get to talk about human things and people are going large. It's beautiful. Talking
okay,
about
I can join it. How do you join it? I don't.
Well,
how do you join it?
We'll put the hashtag here, and you just invite yourself. You can search for the group, but I'll put it when we're off live. I'll put the group link. You just answer 3 questions, watch the welcome video so we know the guidelines, and then we go to just be there to love on each other.
Okay, I'll join it. Yeah.
Cool. Hooray. Good. Do we have any questions? Does anybody want to, are you up for answering some questions if anybody has some questions? Anybody want to ask anything about anything? Nothing's off the table. We'll tell you if we don't know, but it may well be that we do know, or something you want to share. Here we are.
Maybe didn't answer the question about what is psychodramatist, what is psychodrama.
Okay,
it's a method of group psychotherapy, which was devised to look at the past, present, and future in scenes of enactment. So you get a chance. Moreno said it was more expedient to talk directly to your mother or your father instead of through transferential arrangement with the therapist. So Moreno said, I want to be me in an encounter, eye to eye, face to face. When I am near, you take my eyes out and place them instead of yours. You take your eyes out, place them instead of mine, and I will look at you with your eyes, and you will look at me with my eyes. So a true encounter is I see not only what I feel and think, but I try to hold in mind, like, you know, the current mentalization process. I hold in mind what you are feeling and thinking, and we work on it in that way. So we do scenes. You say, I'm having trouble with my boss. Let's show us a scene in the present. We argued this today. Show us where's the desk, where's your chair, what time is it, who's there. And then the person gets a chance to play the role of the boss, to set the role for somebody in the group, and the group comes and be the boss. says what the boss said. The boss says, you're not, you come late every day. So the person in the group says, you come late every day. The person shows us what happened. Said, I can't get up. I'm tired. And so that's an example in action in the present. Then we go to the recent past. Oh yeah, this happened with my boss the last job too, because he didn't like me. And then we go to the childhood, the core, the peeling away the onion of the authority figure. My father used to criticize me my whole life, and I never felt good enough, and I still don't feel good enough with authority figures. And so we go to the core of the problem. We try to put some kind of life repair. What is it he's feeling and thinking with that father he never had a chance to say? Maybe there's a scene, father died, he never had a chance to say how much he loved him or hated him or whatever it was. And he role reverses with the father perhaps that he never had, who said, I'm actually very proud of you and I love you so much, but my father pushed me, so I'm pushing you because I think that's what loving people do. I'm really sorry, my son. And he does a scene he's never ever imagined, and that was called surplus reality, because Moreno was in the influence of Karl Marx, where the workers, the profit went to the bosses, not to the workers. And so Moreno said, why shouldn't the profit go to the workers? So he established something called surplus reality. So you can do scenes that never happened before in life. So psychodrama is about what's never happened in life, what may never happen in life. You get a chance to say goodbye to your mom that died when you were 10. It doesn't matter it happened 100 years ago. You can do a scene that you never were able to say, I didn't want you to go, Mom. I'm angry that you had to leave me. But I had leukemia, she might say. I never wanted to go. Oh, changes your life. Or the parent who told the child you're a mistake. Some of us live our whole lives because we were supposed to be a boy, or we were supposed to be a girl, or we were supposed to be a football player, or we had a script that was written here before we arrived. Or the parent who says to the child, you're a mistake, I should never have you, my life was ruined since you came, da, da, da. That's a script. I'm a mistake. The horrible script. And so we can psychodramatically change the script, and the person can be the parent they actually wanted, which is, I've been waiting for you for years. You're the best thing that's ever happened, whatever. And maybe it's the parent who wanted to say that but couldn't because of their own history. And we can do transgenerational repairing of family secrets and so on, but we do it in action. So that's a big difference of other therapies.
Profound.
I love it. And I teach it all over the world. And the Zerka Moreno's wife used to say to us, do psychodrama, see the world, and I'm doing it. And Moreno once called me and told me I was a genius when I was 23. I went back to Elaine Goldman from Chicago. He told me I was a genius yesterday. Then there was a priest from Colombia. He said, my God, he called me and told me I was a genius 2 days ago. So we had he saw the person you could be, the person you in your wildest dreams couldn't be, and he was so supportive. We are geniuses. But some of us don't get a chance to have anybody ever help us into our genius, Why does it have to be just Mozart?
Well, do you know, I've never thought about this, but I say this to people frequently. We're genius, our creative maneuver.
I see you
I
saying
never
that.
consciously put that. I wonder if that's from you via Moreno and out of me. I've never thought of that before. That must be.
I saw you say it the other night and I laughed to myself. That's my girl.
I'd never consciously put that together. Good Lord. Because it's genius, really. We're so creative with our methods.
And even when we're ill,
right?
As you often say, Poppy, you often say to people, even when we're really in pain, we're geniuses to survive what we've had to survive by shutting down. by being isolate, by being mute, by being whatever, to survive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Extraordinary ability that we have that we don't appreciate. How incredible we are.
I often say to patients, well done, you survived. Look at how you've survived. Oh, but
Yes.
I've been depressed for 60 years old, but you've survived now. It's a vestigial organ. I always say that, dogs, where's my hand? They have this pad here.
Yeah.
And it's from when when they used to lean down and eat the food down, like sheeps and so. Well, that vestigial organ, they don't need it anymore, that pad. And we have behavior, that's vestigial behavior. We weren't isolated as a child. We always went to our room, or we were quiet because we'd get beaten if we said anything. Well, now we don't have to do it. The situation is not the same. It doesn't serve us anymore. It did then.
Well, quite the contrary, it backfires. It did then, it was genius then. Now it's devastating at best.
But we're creatures of habit, so we think, in Madrid, we were working with Mario Moroni, who's an expert in attachment theory. He was supervised by John Bowlby for 10 years and asks in the adult attachment interview beautiful questions like, when you were a child and something was wrong, what did you do? Who did you go to? Because it impacts how you are with your partner now. Oh, as a child, I always went to my room. I always went for a walk. I always played the piano. I was always by myself. Well, because if you told your dad, who was alcoholic, he'd hit you. Or if you told your mom, who was, on drugs or God knows what, she couldn't handle it and everything would be made worse. It's this thing. We feel things will be made worse if I say my truth. So it made sense then.
Yes.
It doesn't. But now if you have a partner who loves you and says, tell me, please, what's wrong? Tell me, please. No, I just need to be by myself. Well, because it's your habit, but you don't. You could try something new. We stay young by doing something new every day.
Yes.
Try something new.
I think we're doing a good job, don't you?
I don't know.
I meant in general. I meant in general in life.
Who is?
We are.
All of us.
Yes.
We're doing our best, puppy. That's what can we do? I like celebrating.
Sorry?
I like celebrating.
Yes. Yes, we noticed. And it's inspirational. I mean, really. Hello?
Yeah.
There's a lot to celebrate.
And there's a lot not to celebrate.
Yeah.
They often say, are you a glasses half empty or a glasses half full person? And somebody said, well, the glass is always refillable. And the other thing, I don't know if I said this to you in the last live, Poppy, but they did a study with people about to die and said, if you had your life to live again, what would you do differently? And they said 5 things. One is, I wished I'd had more fun. I wish I'd said the things I was afraid to say. I wish I'd made the decisions I was afraid to make. I wished I'd hung out only with people I like and not with people I don't like. And I wish I'd said yes when I meant yes and no when I meant no. simple things. We know those things. We know those things, but it's much easier when you're about to die to say, "Fuck off, nurse. I don't like
Yes.
how you've been
Yes.
you've been cruel to me since I came in this hospital. Fuck off." It's easy because you're about to die. Who cares? Not saying people should say "fuck off," but I think it's boundaries and standards and so on. This is not good enough for me right now. Thank you. You say that often in relationships. You should let someone know what's okay, what's not okay.
Yeah.
But if you're about to die, it's easier. How about if you're going to live?
Yeah.
Which of us has the courage to say, "Excuse me, that's quite hurtful what you're saying. What
Yeah.
are you doing?"
Me. Absolutely. Jesus. Absolutely. How
But now
about
I'm
no?
worried. How about, but I'm worried I'm talking too much. I'd like to hear you talk more, and maybe you're not going to say to your old mama, "Shut up." So you can say,
Well,
"Shut up, mama."
I do me, you do you. If I have an issue, I would tell you.
Gracias. Muchas gracias,
Would,
señorita.
wouldn't you? Or would
I
you
don't
go
know.
down the pub later and bitch about me to your friends? Or would you tell me
No,
straight?
no, not me. I'm not English.
Well, quite. Me neither, apparently. I don't know where I'm from. Where are we from? Where am I from? I've got no idea.
Poland, Russia,
Mm.
America, California,
Okay, so we're
and
integrated is the point.
The cosmos.
Quite.
The cosmos has a certain natural truth.
Yes.
A purple, a purple, what you call it? What do you call those things? Violet in the forest doesn't grow and then say, "Oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to grow." Or, "Sorry, maybe I'm growing too purple." Oh,
Yes.
you know, "Oh, I'm so beautiful. Look at me. I'm a purple violet in the middle of a dark forest. Oh, look at me." But it just grows. It's purple. It grows. It dies. No apology. That's what it does.
Yeah.
"Excuse me, I'm too purple for you, am I? Oh, so sorry."
Brilliant. Love it. Shame on me for my purpleness.
I'm so sorry. Excuse me for being purple. I'm so sorry.
I'm being me again.
Yeah, yeah. I bet you wanted a pink violet. Oh, I'll try to be a pink violet. Okay, okay, okay. I'll grow smaller.
Do you remember this? Don't say his name because we're on live. Do you remember my boyfriend when you told him off when he said, "Thanks for having me"? Tell that story without saying his name because that's private. Do you remember
Well, he tried to be.
your rant?
He tried to make me his mum. You mean?
When he said, "Thanks for having me," and you launched into the fore chat.
Thanks for having me to my house.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I just remember saying he called me his mama. I said, "You haven't earned it. Sorry, I'm not your mama."
Oh, that was a different boyfriend. Yes, okay, I get it. Yes, that was fair.
What was the thanks
Your
for
delivery
having me?
could have been a bit more compassionate, but whatever. We all learn. No, this was a boyfriend that I had years ago. When was it? How old was I? Like 24 or something. And he was leaving, and he sort of faced the wall. He wasn't really looking at you, and the intention was beautiful. He said, "Thanks for having me," and you went into one about politeness and lip service and not being authentic and so on and so on. So needless to say, you weren't a fan. What you were saying was, listen, if you're thankful, do you remember who it was? Oh no.
Well, I'm conflating two stories because I was saying this the other day. My observation as an American coming to Britain was when you kids had birthday parties, at the end, the parents would pick up the child and they would take the head like this and they turn the head to me from the child and say, "Tell her thank you for having me." So the kid would be with his balloon and his cake and then he would say, "Thank you for having me." Oh, no, what the fuck that means, but thank you for having me.
Yes.
And one little kid said it to the wall, yeah, thank you for having, no, tell her, thank you for having me. And say thank you, thank you. Meanwhile, his whole body is saying thank you. His whole behavior, his whole excitement is saying thank you. Okay. When I was a kid, you see, I came to Britain, and your brothers and sisters, stepsisters and brothers, thought I was very rude and very polite because I never said, pass the salt, please. I'd say, could I have the salt? I was never taught to say please and thank you. It wasn't part of my upbringing. Okay, I tried to say please, and I tried to, but now I don't try anymore. And because we were raised that if you enjoy something, you say, I really love this salt. It's great salt. Thank you. It's great salt. I love this salt. This is a good party. This is a good birthday party. I like this birthday party. The cake, the cake's fantastic. Look at all those candles. I don't like this cake. We were told to be honest, but what I learned coming to Britain is there's a formula. You have to say, thank you for having me. You have to say, thank you and please excuse me. That's the formula. But the formula doesn't work because you go away from the person. You say, that was shit cake, or I hated that party, or whatever. But you did the formula.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, the most polite people on earth, the British, can be the most rude. I know I'm going to get into big trouble here because there's a lot of very kind, polite, genuine people in Britain, and I love them to bits.
And you also said can be, because it's actually,
but,
it happens in other cultures, other states too. It's our culture, I think.
Absolutely, because we've learned in many cultures, China, Taiwan, everywhere, that don't say your truth because it'll hurt someone. But the corollary to that, it seems to me, is I never heard of so many migraine headaches. I came to Britain. I never heard the word migraine or migraine. Never heard it. And then I began to think, women are going to bed for 3 days because they got a headache.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a headache because they're a splitting headache. Maybe split because my part of my body says, I hate this thing. And part of my body says, I'm supposed to say, I love this thing. Thank you very much. Excuse me. And the body is split. It's a splitting headache for days, hours, because I'm not saying my truth, which is, this was unkind. I didn't like this food. I don't want to be here. I'm supposed to stay till 3 o'clock. I want to leave now. There's a split. Do what you need to do. Do what your body's telling you to do. Don't put the words, oh, it's rude. If I leave early, it'll be rude. If I come late, it's rude. If I do, then you're rude to your body. And you have a splitting headache. Does that make sense? No.
Just a bit. Yes.
Bilious. That's the other word.
Box, if it makes sense.
Bilious is the other word that's used. Bilious. I have a bilious headache. Bilious means you're so dizzy you feel like throwing up. Well, I don't know. I totally understand it. Throwing up. Throwing up what? Throwing up the experience of being false. It makes me sick. Yes, I'm sure it does. Makes you sick. It makes you sick because you're being dishonest to who you are, what you feel, what you think. So it makes you sick, literally sick.
AKA bulimia and eating disorders. Absolutely. Makes 100 million% sense. Does it not?
I want you to know that I heard a 4-year-old child crack eating disorders the other day. He said, I have such a heartache in my stomach that today I have to eat and eat and eat and eat. I have such a heartache in my stomach. Today I have to eat and eat and eat and eat. 4 years old, cracked eating disorders. And he cracked Melanie Klein. He cracked it. Jealous of his little sister, jealous. Trying to leave her in the park, could we leave her in the park? Trying to, how come mama spends all the time with the baby, feeding her, kissing her? How come we're all so nice to this new baby? We don't even know her. Could we just leave her somewhere? He said, Daddy, a black and white cow. Mummy is a black and white cow. I'm a black and white cow. That little baby is a horse.
Oh my God. I so identify.
He doesn't belong. That baby doesn't belong in our family. We're cows. That baby,
That's
really has a horse. Anyway, he cracked it. Klein, listen to this. Melanie Klein. He says, I figured out what I have to do. Almost 4 years old. I said, what's that? I have to get the breast again and get the milk.
Huh? Say that again.
I have to get the breast again and get the milk.
Oh my God. A kid said this? A client of yours?
Just under 4 years old.
Good.
I figured it out.
God.
Just have to get the breast again and get the milk.
Oh my God. President. Give him everything. Jeez Louise.
This is an intelligent child.
Apparently. Oh my God, that's stunning.
I have such a heartache in my stomach today. I have to eat and eat and eat and eat. So there's a clinic in London that's adapted it. You know, the girls who self-harm and all this stuff, self-harm and suicidal feelings and eating disorders, and they're all saying, I have such a heartache in my stomach. I have to eat and eat and eat. So they're adapting it as the heartache group, you know. Have a heartache in my stomach. How about that?
Wow. That's phenomenal.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Absolutely.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Wow. Wow. Incredible. Oh my God.
Why are we all so nice to her? We don't even know her, he says about the baby.
That's how I felt with my little brother. I was like, you bastards. I was here for ages and now he's like perfect. Kill it.
He
God,
takes
I
the
was
blame.
furious.
But I remember you, and I was breastfeeding him. You brought Tamsin, and you're watching me breastfeed, and you say to Tamsin, you were 5, you said, it's really good. Look, she doesn't even have to cook.
Oh God.
And can I tell a story or not?
I think you're on a roll, don't you?
Well, he came home from hospital.
Who?
This is a classic because
Who's he?
your little brother.
Right.
And you were eating sweets. You had jujubes. Jujubes, we call them in America, but here they call it jelly babies. And you were eating one it was a teddy bear jelly baby.
Oh,
Jujube, teddy bear. And the head came off it. The head came off. And you were putting the head of it back on, and you went 3 hours. 3 hours, puppy. You said, I want it the way it was. 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 3 hours. And then you went to sleep. I remember Dad carried you in, and you went to sleep for like 5 hours or something.
I probably knackered myself out.
The head of the jujube on the body, you kept saying, I want it the way it was. 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 Why not?
I did. Obviously.
Of course. I don't know how these parents manage this beautiful thing. I did something wrong, I think. You know.
What do you mean?
Well, because a lot, you see on the Facebook, a lot of these babies are cuddled by their 2-year-old brothers, and they're kissing each other and they love each other.
I did. Hello, I looked after that kid in a big way. I had his back in the end. I
Absolutely.
didn't want to murder it for about 9 months, but I did get
No,
over it.
you were inseparable, and you were like one being for 500 years, the two of you. And there was no greater love than the two of you. I saw. I'm just thinking with this little boy who says to me, you know, he's got a little plastic electric saw that goes, and he goes to the baby, says, I'm going to drill her down to nothing.
That's human. We're all human. This is the point.
But
Get out of the way.
You know, she's 2 weeks old or something, and he goes, I'm going to drill her down to nothing, you know. It is quite natural, but there are some parents who do it beautifully, where the child is waiting for the baby, and that it's the best friend. I remember you with Jackson. You said, there's one thing I can play with this baby, soldiers. And you would put his arms up like this, and his arms down like that, and you figured out with the baby play soldiers. That was your first game, soldiers.
I bet there's a lot of parents who get. I mean, did you at any juncture feel scared that I didn't like him? Like, I bet there's a lot of parents who are like, "What? My kids hate each other. What are you supposed to do?"
I never felt scared. No.
Okay. Well, I probably kept it to myself a lot of the time.
Well, I got scared when he would say things like, you'd be going down the lane and you'd say, see that field with the cows? See that field with the cows? You have to go and talk with those cows. Or you can't come down the lane with me, or I'm not going to play with you tomorrow. So he'd walk in the field with the cows all by himself at 3 years old or something.
Well, it was rough. I mean, he looked like Shirley Temple. He was the cutest thing. Everybody said, oh, he's so lovely. He's so adorable. And I'd just be like, what about you people? I'm here. Hello.
Absolutely, absolutely. And parents make such an error, you know, when the friends come over and they say, oh, the baby, and they bring the baby a bear or a fluffy apple or something like that. And then the kid who's been there before gets nothing.
Yes.
It's as if they don't exist anymore.
Yes.
When I go see a new baby, I always bring something for the existing kid of anything. I mean, you know, apple, grapes, fluffy,
something. Acknowledge.
alligator. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I give it to them first, you know, like.
Nice. Yeah. Well, the baby doesn't, well, we don't know. Well, it probably does remember subconsciously, but not consciously. The kid does.
Absolutely. The baby's absolutely, what do you call it? I remember when I had my second child, your brother, I read in a book, it said, put the baby down when the older child comes in, so your arms are free to receive them, so they don't see you having something else in your arms. Open your arms for them to come. And I gave you, every time you came, I gave you an Easter egg with chicks in it and stuff like that. It was Easter time. So every time you came, you went away from the hospital with a baby chick or something, whatever. But I remember that. Keep when you arrived, I keep my arms open to receive you, because those arms were yours for all those years, 5 years. How can you see Mama's arms with holding another? Those are my arms. Those are my breasts that I used to suckle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Giving it away. I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. It's a trauma for many kids, and we just don't appreciate it. What did we do wrong, you know?
My mom did it the other way, apparently. My brother said that she would say, "Look, isn't your sister ugly? She's got no hair, no teeth. She can't talk. She can't walk." And every time he went past, she'd say, "Isn't she ugly? No hair, no teeth, no. She can't talk." And then he said one time he looked in the cot and he said, "You know, Mom, she's not that ugly. She's not that ugly." But he proceeded to tell me I was ugly for the rest of my life, unfortunately.
That was your
I mean,
dad or your brother?
no, my brother. No, my brother. She dealt with it by doing the opposite, saying,
Yeah.
"Here's your new sister. Isn't she ugly? She got no hair, no teeth." You see. But he was a comedian, Dave, and he had a comedy routine about my sister's so skinny she has only one stripe in her pajamas. My sister's so skinny she has to run around in the shower to get wet. My sister could sit in a doctor's waiting room and make people sick. My sister entered a beauty contest and nobody won.
Oh no. Oh no.
But we had this good humor, you see. I had this dress made for his wedding in Florida, Vizcaya, and it was all sculptures. So the designer in Canada designed a dress. It was high up on the knee on one side and way down to the floor, purple silk on the other side, like a sculpture hung. And
Right.
then the cape of it came high up here on one side of the cape part, silk, beautiful purple silk, and then went down on the elbow on the other side, like a draped sculpture, you know? And I
Yeah.
looked fantastic, big thing and all that. I get off the airplane and my brother takes one look at me and says, "Who is your dry cleaners?" It was hilarious because we had humor. It was hilarious, like what kind of dry cleaner would make a hem half up your knee and down to the floor?
See, I don't get that kind of humor. To me, that's not nice.
I think it's hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was very clever. I thought it was very clever. You don't take a personal comment personally.
Yeah, I never got that. It took me decades and decades. I never got it. Didn't get it until more recently.
Well, I hope you're not taking this personally.
Well, I'll tell my mates down the pub later what a horrible mother you are behind your back. On Facebook status on friends only. Well, I block you.
Well, I'll block you back. I'll block you back.
People are asking and saying, Marsha, if you wrote a book, I would buy it. What do you have to say to that?
Oh, my book is called. It first was called. What was it? My mother said. Man plans and God laughs.
Was that your mum?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. I'm always quoting it. I never know to.
Then we got I did a what you call it research thing, and everybody liked simplicity is complicated. No, so it was simple is complicated, and somebody changed it to simplicity is complicated. I wrote 4 fantastic chapters. I pushed a button and I lost them all to cyberspace.
Unusual.
And I gave you the computer, and the modem disappeared. I don't know what, and it's now gone. That's it.
Oops.
So I thought I'd start the next thing, simplicity is complicated, with that little story.
Okay. Done. What about the other books, though, that you've edited with your chapters in and so on? Why don't you say what they are?
Well, they're in 7 languages, most of them. The last one is called Handbook of Psychodrama, published by Routledge, 1998. You can get it on Amazon in one of 7 languages, I think, or I don't know, bunch. The one before that is called Psychodrama since Moreno. We asked, Paul Holmes is the co-editor of most of those. The Handbook of Psychodrama is co-edited by Kate Bradshaw Tovan, who is now president of the International Association Group Psychotherapy, which ends in Malmo, Sweden in August. And the new president is Richard Beck from New York, an analyst, group analyst, great guy, all great guys. And Kate Tovan, I remember.
Pushing your eye.
Oh, I got something here. Anyway, Kate Tovan, I remember sitting at Holwell table. She's English, and she said she listened to people from all over Korea, everywhere. I remember her saying, "Oh, there's so many voices that aren't English." And she went on to marry a Swedish analyst, learned Swedish, took her group analytic training and exams in group analysis in Swedish. Now she's a Swedish living Stockholm group analyst and psychodramatist and president of the World Organization of International Group Psychotherapy. So, and that ends after 3 years. So, what did you ask me? Oh, so she co-edited the Handbook of Psychodrama with me and Paul, and we asked graduates of Holwell program to write a chapter on what is the warm-up, what is creativity, what is the action portion about. The one before that is Psychodrama since Moreno, and we asked people who were trained by Moreno or who were trained by people who were trained by Moreno. What inspires you in psychodrama, in group psychotherapy, individual? And write a chapter on what excites you about Moreno's ideas and you've adapted for your own, you know? So that's really exciting. Monica Zaretti, for example, writes on co-unconscious, Jung called it co-conscious. Moreno said we are together. We form our consciousness together. Fascinating. Moreno said, for example, maybe we don't have a psyche. Maybe we have a interpersonal psyche, because how I am with you, Poppy, on this live is not, we have a psyche together, is not how I'm going to be with my neighbor who walks here any minute now because I'm on the balcony late at night. He's going to say, Marsha, shut your fucking mouth or whatever. my psyche is going to be different with you now than my neighbor. So we create together this psyche, this interpersonal thing. Okay. Then the book before that, our first one, me and Paul did. I could never have done them without Paul Holmes because he's an academic, clever thinker. He knows how to edit things and do paragraph things and dots and things, and references and all that, bibliography, all that. It's called Psychodrama, Inspiration and Technique, which should be called Psychodrama, Inspiration and Method, because in psychodrama there are many techniques, but it is a method with a beginning, middle, and end, a warm-up, action portion, and sharing. And the sharing is a group discussion, which is a feedback. Moreno called it a love back, where you have an alcoholic father and you say, yo también in Spanish, me too. This is what happened to me. You don't analyze what they said, what they did. You don't talk about them. You just say, oh my God, I was so touched. When your father was beating you, it reminded me when I used to get beaten, oh my God. And I talk about me. And that's the therapy for the person in the group who's been, Thespis in Greek drama, Thespis, the thespian, that's where we get the word, he came out of the Greek chorus and spoke his story, told his truth. And the audience in Greece was purged by hearing the story of Thespis because they identified. Thespis was telling his story, it's like my story, and they go away purged. So this audience cleansing happens in group psychotherapy because you talk about your relationship with your husband. My God, it's just like my first husband. I never got over it. He had 6 affairs. I never got over it. And I talk about me. That's the sharing portion. And then in training, we have the third, which is called the processing, where we look at how the director got to where they got, the group leader, the facilitator, what they did, what they could have done, what they should have done, all that stuff, the process. So the first book is called Psychodrama, Inspiration and Technique. And they're all very beautiful books and in many languages. And one of the great thrills of my life, it's a birthday every time it happens, I go to Israel and I see the book in Hebrew under somebody's arm. Or I go to Japan and I see it's in Japanese with your dad's pictures, you know. My husband, Ken Sprague, Poppy's dad, was a fabulous artist, communist, socialist. He used to say the Communist Party left me. I never left the Communist Party. But he was a great humanitarian, and he didn't illustrate. He said he wrote a chapter with each of his drawings.
Yeah.
And he did. He would draw a picture, let's say black and white, pen and ink, of a depressed woman with shadow all on her. It was his chapter. And he wrote chapters. He wrote a wonderful chapter, you know, on the cosmos and being in the real world versus dream, fantasy, all this stuff. Because he was trained in sociodrama mostly, looking at social issues, race, poverty, and enacting in a social educational way, whereas psychodrama takes my life, my problem. I've got a brain injured child and it's my issue of how I feel I want to kill myself. It's a personal issue that gets enacted. Whereas in the social issue, a sociodrama, we dramatize and people take roles. So we take the role of the press about the Syrian refugees. We take the role of Trump. We take the role of Ivana Trump. We take the role of the child in the cage. We take the role of the parent who's pulled away. And we try to educate ourselves to something better. And a good sociodrama has a result where we are incited to action to do something differently. We don't just sort of gaze at our navels and say, oh, isn't it awful, the world? But we go make a petition together, or we go 10 Downing Street and say, Theresa May, come out here, I got to tell you something, whatever.
Be the change.
Huh?
Be the change.
Be the change. Go to a homeless person and say, are you from another country? Can I buy you a drink of Slivovitz? If that's what you're from, Romania, let's have a Slivovitz, something different. Can I smoke or not?
It's your life, mother. It's your lungs. Oh my God. Powerful woman, isn't she? Aren't we powerful together? This is incredible. What about the other book, though, on becoming a psychodramatist? That's one of yours as well, isn't it? Don't you have chapters in that book? Oh, on becoming a psychotherapist, sorry, that book.
Yeah, but that was Windy Dryden and a co-editor. He asked 10 psychotherapists in America, or 8, and 8 in Europe, what was it like to become a psychotherapist? It should be a textbook for all therapists. And we had a formula. What was your inspiration? How did you get the idea? How was it in your family? Do you have any warnings for other new psychotherapists? What do you love about your work? What do you dislike about your work? Who were your major influences? What was your training and background? How does your family view yourself as a psychotherapist? Do you have a family? Is it okay for them? Is it okay not for them? Would you like to be some how many have been doing it for more than 2 professions before they did it? It's an interesting book.
Yeah.
On becoming a psychotherapist, Windy Dryden and
he was my boss, do you remember?
Laurie Sperling. Yes, Laurie Sperling was the other editor.
Laurie Sperling.
Laurie Sperling, but maybe you can get it on Amazon. But all my books you can get on Amazon. Handbook of Psychodrama is the latest one, and Inspiration and Technique. I think there's a few used copies, and then Psychodrama since Moreno is available, but in lots of languages. And on my website, if anybody wants to look, www.marshakop.org, what is psychodrama is in 7 languages. It's a short article.
Wow.
And then Introduction to Psychodrama is there. There's two separate. One's very short and one's a couple more paragraphs or something. One of them's in 7 languages. What is psychodrama, or something like that. What is psychodrama is in 7 languages. Oh, sorry. Is that? No. Maybe it's on my www.worshipcup.org. And if it's not, it's on FEPTO, Federation of European Psychodrama Training Organizations. Federation of European and Mediterranean Psychodrama Training Organizations, FEPTO. There you can find what is psychodrama, and it's on 7 languages if anybody wants to.
Apparently I'm frozen. I'm getting some feedback here. However, I go live at 6:30 for my Monday night Q&A, so I'm going to go and just have a coffee and chill for a bit before then.
Is it now tonight?
Tonight, in an hour.
How many hours now will it be?
In 1 hour, I go live. I think it's in an hour. Yeah, I go live for my Q&A Monday night. So I'm just going to go and have a coffee and chill. And
I'm proud of you. You're looking after yourself. You're looking after yourself. Good.
So we get to celebrate our brilliant, wonderful second live on Facebook. And I'll put this on YouTube as well so that we can have it there. Both videos.
Puppy. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mother.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Thanks for sharing with us. But wait, before you go, how do people get hold of you? Because you do one-to-one psychotherapy as well, right? Are you taking
yes, I have a practice.
I
live in London. I have a practice in St. John's Wood. My email is M as in mother, curiously enough, MKARP, carp, MKARP 11444 at AOL.com.
So presumably, if people get hold of you, they can find out where psychodrama is happening, where you're leading groups, where your next conference is.
Yeah, and I do Skypes from all over the world if somebody wants a Skype session and they pay me into my bank account. I'll say it again, MKARP 11444 at AOL.com. Just write to the email thing and say when we can mutually conveniently meet on Skype, if that's helpful, or make an appointment in St. John's Wood at the Kalish Centre. I work 7 New Court Street in St. John's Wood, London, North London.
It's rather a nice ring. Can you bequeath it to me, please?
This is weird. It cost me 30 quid at the Iranian shop in what do you call it? Near Harrods thing. 30 quid. It was in the window. I bought it. And Ed Schreiber, when he saw it on Facebook, and he said it is the exact replica of how the psychodrama stage was originally built. This is an Indian thing. They are all over India where people bury intellectual, cognitive ideas of a person. There's a shrine to them.
Wow.
It's like a memorial thing. And Moreno, in his original architectural plans of the psychodrama stage, this was the inspiration of it. And wow. I bought it without knowing it. Isn't it interesting?
Serendipity is everywhere. Oh my gosh. Anyway, how wonderful to do all this together and share it with everybody. Phenomenal. Amazing, amazing. So I will see you guys if you want to join in an hour live Q&A, psychology Q&A. Hop on this page, Poppy Sprague friend page. And I'm guessing we'll go live another time as well and just be our wonderful selves. Purple and proud.
And no apologies for being purple.
Exactly. Unapologetically purple.
Purple.
Bye.